Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube. What's up, everyone? This is a follow-up video to the previous one on rolling ability scores for my upcoming Kandalur campaign. So the previous video, which I will link to somewhere around here, talked about an interesting method that I put together for rolling ability scores at the start of the campaign. Now, there was a lot of good feedback. There was actually somebody who even went through and tried out a lot of the different methods in the comments. People put a bunch of different methods in the comments, and those were all really great, and I loved the feedback on it. Now, I knew going into that video that method was very complicated, and it was probably not something that I was going to stick with throughout. I'm trying to simplify everything I do in gaming, and so basically it was just too complicated. So I'm going to present 3 other methods today, and I want to hear some feedback from everyone, what you think of them. I certainly did not come up with all of these methods, but anyways, let's get started. Method number, this would be 2. So method number 1 is in the previous video. Method number 2, you would roll 3d6 10 different times. That would give you 10 different ability scores. You take the 2 highest, toss them out. You take the 2 lowest, toss them out. The 6 left in the middle are your ability scores. I really like this method. It's very different to roll scores 10 times total, but I don't know, it gets rid of those chance times that it's going to be really high, but it also gets rid of those chance times where scores could be really low, and I think it kind of evens it out very nicely. So I love this method. I saw it on a blog today, and I want to hear your thoughts on that method. Alright, so we're going to test out that method really quickly. So 3d6 10 times, I'll keep track of it, and we'll see what the final scores actually are. Now, for that one, we have a 4, 4, and a 3 for a score of 11. We have a 4, 5, 4 for a score of a 13. 3, 4, 3, or a score of a 10. 4, 2, 1 for a score of a 7. Oops. 5, 4, 3 for a score of a 12. 1, 2, 3 for a score of 6. 6, 4, 4 for a score of 14. 6, 4, 2 for a score of a 12. 2 more times. 6, 5, 2 for a score of a 13. Oops. And a 6, 6, 1 for a score of a 13. So we have to wipe out the 2 highest. We actually have 3 13s and a 14, so I'm going to cross out that 14 and one of the 13s. And then the 2 lowest, so 6 and a 7. Leaving us with a score. You can see that. Scores of 11, 13, 10, 12, 12, 13. Average to above average for D&D stats. Method number 3. You would roll for your first score 5d6. Drop the 2 lowest. So that gives you a little bit better of a chance to get something good. Rolls, or scores I should say, 2 and 3, you're going to roll 4d6, drop the lowest, so those are just like normal. The remaining 3 scores are all 3d6. You have to take it no matter what it is. So, that method, like I said, you get a couple more dice included on 1 or 2 scores, and I'm not entirely sure if I would let them just roll all those and then allocate where they'd go, or if I would make them say, okay, the 5d6 is for my intelligence, and then they have to roll and take it. So I'm not entirely sure again, open for feedback there. But that method is it's probably, out of the three I'll present in this video, my least favorite, but it is an interesting one that I've seen used before. Now we're going to test out this method. So with this method, I actually need to start with 5d6. For the first roll, I have a 6, 5, 1, 2, 2. I get to take out the two lowest, so a 6, 5, 2, bringing my score to a 13. Next up, I get to roll 4d6, drop the lowest. So I have a 6, 6, 5, 1, drop the 1 with a score of a 17. Once more, 4d6, drop the lowest. 6, 5, 2, 3, drop the 2, 6, 5, 3, score of a 14. Now, for 3d6, 3 times, no rerolls. 3, 4, 1, for a score of 8. 5, 5, 3, for 13. Last ability score, 3, 4, 3, for a score of 10. So with that method, we come up with a character of a 13, 17, 14, 8, 13, 10. Pretty much average. He had a little lower stat there, but pretty much above average, I should say. So very high scores with that one. Method number 4. Very simple. The one I'm probably leaning toward the most. I don't know, because that method number 2 I presented at the start of this video, really excited about. So anyways, these two are probably tied for the winner right now. 3d6, you get to allocate the scores, so you can put them wherever you want. You are allowed to re-roll scores of a 6 or lower, but each time you choose to do that, you have to add a character flaw. So, kind of like my first method where there was kind of a penalty for re-rolling. However, this one's very simple. You just add a character flaw, which can add to the role-playing, it can add to the story and everything. So the final method, we're going to roll 3d6. All the way through. I get to re-roll anything lower than a 6, but I have to add a character flaw. So let's see how this character turns out. 6, 5, 1 for a score of 12. 5, 1, 1 for a score of a 7. 5, 4, 2 for a score of 11. 5, 4, 2 for another score of 11. 5, 5, 2 for a score of 12. Last one. 5, 5, 6 for a score of 16. So that does highlight right there how they might not even need to re-roll. This comes up with a pretty powerful character, aside from a 7, with no extra flaws. That is the 4th method. So after those 3, you have all 4 methods. With that first video, tell me what your favorite is, tell me what you think of each of these, and also tell me what you're using. And then I will let you know what I decide on. But I want to thank you for watching, and have a great week of gaming. What methods do you use though? Leave a comment below on what methods you use for creating characters. Do you use point buy? Do you use standard array? Do you use a different type of rolling ability scores? I'd like to hear all these different methods and why you do them.